beautiful bibliophiles, it's Nektaria, and today I should be saying something, like I'm feeling sassy today, so let's talk about book series. I'm not gonna continue, but I never feel sassy, to be honest, so let's be not sassy, but still talk about book series I didn't like enough to continue. So before we get to the books, the classic disclaimer that if some of your favorite books are included in this list, it is not a personal attack on you. I absolutely love you. Maybe we just have different reading tastes, which is perfect. It's amazing. It's the best thing ever because this is what the bookish community is about, for us to talk about books and exchange our opinions on them. And as an ambassador of goodwill and acceptance, I have this little plant friend. It's so cute, you can pet it. Don't water it though. So my bestie Irov, I'm going to show her Instagram profile here and link it down in the description, made this for me, and it's the cutest thing. And it has this like perfect like stoic calm face, so remember this stoic plant face and don't attack me in the comments for not liking your favorite books. So anyways, our ambassador is going to go do their photosynthesis now, and we're gonna get to the books. So the first book I want to talk about is Everless by Sarah Holland, and I believe there is a second book out which I will not be reading because I gave Everless 4 stars, which is a really good rating. I can't remember much about it, even though I read it just a year ago exactly, because this is my point why I'm not reading the next book. I just did not find Everless to be that memorable and that just unique. It's a YA fantasy. The element of it that sounded intriguing and I checked it out in the first place is the fact that in this society people pay with time of their lives, like their currency is time of their lives, and that's what they used to, pay for stuff. I mean, it's like capitalism, but things is more literal, but it's capitalism. So yeah, that sounded intriguing, but it was just a very cliche, predictable YA fantasy. It had nothing extraordinary about it. The female protagonist was just every YA fantasy female protagonist. The relationships between the characters weren't anything in particular because I can't remember them or the characters for that matter that much. But just remember that it just left me with just a very just okay impression, nothing very extraordinary about it to make me want to read the sequel. So yeah, I didn't dislike it, I just didn't like it enough to read the second book. The next books I actually have the copies of. You're not gonna see much physical books in this video because I didn't like them enough to continue the series. They are just in my local library or I gave them to friends, so yeah, not many physical copies, but I do have Jojo Moyes Is Me Before You, and I read the sequel, Still You, Jojo Moyes, and no, After You, Still You is the third one. Yeah, let's start with Me Before You. I read it 2 or 3 years ago, and I enjoyed it. I really liked it. I've heard some things about the representation that I want to look more into, but at the time that I read it, I thought it discussed a topic that just, it was good to raise awareness about it and to start a conversation about it. So I appreciated it. And my mom read it and she really loved it. So we went to the bookstore and she saw After You and she was like, oh my gosh, I'm picking this up. And I was like, Mom, it's not gonna be good. The first book had something interesting to talk about, but I thought this was going to be just a romantic adult contemporary, which I don't have much interest in, and neither does my mom most of the time. So anyways, I knew she was going to be disappointed, but she was like, oh no, I want to get it. So she bought it anyway, and she read it, and she really didn't like it. So I was like, told you. But then, for some reason, I read it too. I don't know. I feel like there was a buzzwordathon at the time with the word you, and this was one of the few books I had with the words. It was like, I'm reading it for the readathon. And there is a cool quote about grief, page 43 of this edition. It's a really quality quote, and that's the only good thing I found in the book. That quote belongs in a totally different book because this was just soap opera, so many unrealistic things happening, what? They didn't make any sense. So unrealistic. I've just found it to be not interesting at all, and I don't see a reason for it to exist. Like, I feel like Movie for You should have been a standalone, you know? So yeah, there is a book called Steal Me, which I'm not planning to read ever. I'm going more into rants. The House of Night. This has 9 books. Has anyone ever reached like the 9th book? I want them to tell me so I can congratulate them on their patience, because oh my god. So this is about kind of vampires, and oh my god, I just didn't like this at all. So there's this protagonist, I think her name is Zoe because I hated her, so I feel like I remember her name right. And she discovers that she has some kind of powers, some kind of vampire-like powers. I feel it's like a vampire with magic skills thing. And she goes to this House of Knife, which is this academy. So yeah, it's pretty much like Vampire Academy, and there's even the same element where everyone has an excellence on a specific like element's powers, like earth, water, fire, earth. Did I say earth? Anyways, and there's like a 5th one which is like energy and soul and stuff. So yeah, it's the same as the Vampire Academy, the world building, and that's one thing that seemed odd to me, and I still didn't check out which came out first to see which came out first. But anyways, the Vampire Academy itself is coming later in the video, so anyways, what I didn't like was the writing was below average. So why did I get to book 5? I got to book 5, I actually didn't have book 5, because I read the first book, it was exam season and just needed something like very low-key to just relax, you know, and it did the job, because that's what its job is. And then I would just keep going to like the next book until the 5th book to see like what is going to happen next with some side characters that I thought were nice people, because the protagonist certainly isn't a good person. Yeah, but they just kept being like so repetitive and boring, and like at some point it was like so amateur writing, and like what the hell. And like the protagonist is so unlikable. Like they're slut shaming this girl in the first book, like the antagonist, which is awful in itself to slut shame someone, but then we're getting to the 5th book and the slutty antagonist has one constant partner, and the protagonist, which is supposed to be this super shy and like cute and good and moral girl, is cheating on her boyfriend with 3 different people. And I'm just like, okay, so you're slut shaming her and you're like still being called the nicest person in the world, and people are to show just acceptance to the fact that you're so horny that you just can't not cheat on your boyfriend. I'm just like, what the heck, you know, that ain't cool. And yeah, I just really didn't like that. There was like a love pentagon going on there. I'm not kidding, like the number like of the book, like 1st, 2nd, 3rd, is equal to the number of boyfriends she has in the book without them being like in agreement of having a relationship. Like she's just cheating on her boyfriend with 3 different people. And I'm just like, what the heck, you know, I really didn't like it. I don't know why I got to the 5th book. Like that was money and time quite wasted, apart from the fact that I can now rant about it. So yeah, now we're gonna do some more vampire books, because I obviously have a hard time enjoying books with vampires, or they're just not that good. No, I don't think that's the case. It's just not my cup of tea. Anyway, so next is obviously Twilight. I read the first book like 5-6 years ago. I did not know about how problematic the author was. I had already watched the movies. And the book was just very flat. Like, it was quite long, if I remember correctly. It was a chunky book, but I remember nothing about it whatsoever. Like, not memorable at all. Yeah, pretty much nothing to see here situation for me. I was not one of the people that like read it so early in their reading lives that they were like emotionally connected to it. Those are the people reading Midnight Sun right now, probably. Even though some of them like recognize that it's not that good of a series, but anyways, I have no problem against whoever enjoy this series and is reading Midnight Sun right now. You do you. So yeah, I don't want to finish the Twilight series. I don't want to read anything by that problematic author, whatever her name is. So that's done. Next up, the Vampire Diaries, the TV show was playing when I was like 11 or 12, like 11 to 12. And every 11 to 12-year-old was watching that. So I watched the first 2 seasons. I was quite enjoying it because Ian Somerhalder, and I started the 3rd season, but was not very interested in it, so I left it, and I have not finished it, and I don't think I ever will. So yeah. But when I was like watching the 2 first seasons, back in 6th grade, again I was 11, I picked up the first book. And even at the time, it's not like a realization I'm having now, even at the time, I found it like so problematic and just, I didn't enjoy it at all. The writing was very mediocre, and what really just annoyed me was that there is this sexual harassment, sexual attack scene that is just, I feel like it was used as a plot point, which is really bad. It was just used so pretty much like Stefan could go and like help Elena, and that's just, off. So yeah, really didn't like that. Continuing with the books I read because I was watching the TV show, we obviously have Pretty Little Liars by Sarah Shepard. Is that her name? I think that's her name. So yeah, I have a very special relationship with Pretty Little Liars because it was the first like teen show I watched because like I searched it and it looked cool and I watched it, like Vampire Diaries and The Secret Circle, which should not have been cancelled after the 1st season. But again, I don't think I would like it now, but my 12-year-old was very mad that they cancelled it after the 1st season. Anyways, so those were on TV, but like Pretty Little Liars, I was like a preteen, I was 12, and I was like, I want to be a cool teen who watch cool teen TV shows. That was a lot of T's. Anyways, so yeah, I searched Pretty Little Liars, it sounded cool. I've watched the whole thing now. I think it was like playing, I was 12 to 15 and I was watching it. And obviously, I've watched much better TV shows since then. It's not that close to my heart anymore. I mean, it is close to my heart because I really enjoyed it back at the time, but now I just understand that it's not like that, just perfect. But anyways, I really enjoyed it, and by it I mean, that mid-5th, mid-6th season till then, because then it does a time jump that was very uncalled for. But yeah, I really enjoyed it. It had some very fun times. It had some very intriguing, interesting times. And I just feel like it's like a really fun series to watch to pass the time. So yeah, I really enjoyed it. So back then, I also thought I'd pick up the books, and I picked up the first book. It has so many books, this series. And I was like, again, mind blown by how much I didn't like it. The characters were very different from the TV show characters. Like, the TV show characters also take really bad choices and make very bad decisions and hurt each other sometimes. But the book characters, like, they were so bitchy for no reason. Like, that was not a friendship. Like, all they wanted to do was just hurt each other, and all they cared about was, like, boys. And it was just very like bad. I didn't like it. The writing again was average, and everyone was such a mean person in that book, and so unlikable, and so just egoistic, and I just like didn't like it at all. Hey, we have not talked about enough vampire books today, so let's go. Vampire Academy by Richelle Mead, I think it is. Anyways, this is actually this is the best out of the vampire books in this video. Like, this had some cool elements about it. Like, it was a cool book, a fun book to pass the time. So, first book I really enjoyed, and the second book I think I really enjoyed. But as it went, like, I kept seeing some elements that I didn't like. For example, the relationship, Rose's relationship with Dimitri, like, it was very cheesy, and she just kept talking about his muscular arms, hugging her, and I was just like, get a room, how cheesy can you get, So that I didn't like. And also, there was not enough, like, vampire action going on, I wanted to see some vampire battles there, and there were not enough of them. Like at the end of the third book, they're just hyping, like during the whole book, they're just really hyping up this battle that is gonna come up, and I'm like, oh, okay, yeah, we're seeing some action, but like no action. Like the epic battle that was gonna happen took like 1-2 pages, and then we went back to the cheesiness, and I was like, why? But what made me not want to continue the series was the fourth book. It's quite a chunky one, actually, and I just felt like maybe because it was this long, it started with Rose having a certain quest and her just forgetting about it in the meantime. But the point was not that she was forgetting about it. The point was that me, the reader, was forgetting about it. I was like, I feel a bit lost here. What was the point? What was the initial point? But what really, really bugged me was the ending. I'm not gonna spoil anything, but if you read it, the very, very ending, I just feel like if you take out like the last kind of chapter, or the last that different thing that happened anyway, and you just cut it off before, the series could just end there. But no, they had to do that plot twist. They had to do that plot twist after that, which I just felt like really didn't need to happen. And I was like, okay, if there's just one more book in the series, if there's just a fifth book, and it's the last book, I'm gonna read it. But I checked it, and it's 6 books, so yeah, I just feel like I would not have enjoyed the rest of them. So this video is going to be a complete rant because it is after, and oh my god, why did I even read that? I just wanted to see what everyone was talking about, so I read the first book, I read the second book, and I DNF'd the third one 10 pages in. So yeah, apart from the writing being just very, very below average, it was just a bad writing. Like, I just have to say it was a bad writing. It also, like, it was a sexist, anti-feminist book. I don't understand why we don't talk more about how this book just is disrespectful to women and just creates toxic relationship goals for young girls. Like, I feel that is not talked about enough, like how toxic that book is. It's very toxic. So anyways, Harding does that thing at the end of the first book, and that is just inhuman. That is almost criminal. You don't do that to someone. Like, you have to be a very, very horrible person to do that. And peer pressure, what? I cannot speak because I'm so angry. Anyways, peer pressure does not justify what he did, and obviously the fact that he has a traumatic past does not justify what he did. A lot of us have those traumatic pastings, and we're still good people, okay? We don't do that to people. We're good people. Harding, not a good person. So yeah, I'm sorry. I was very mad. I still am whenever I think about it, but thankfully I don't think about it that often. So yeah, I just read the second book to see how in the world is like she forgiven him, and how does it make it look like a healthy relationship. And yeah, I did not get an answer. It's still a toxic relationship, and just the premise of it and the fact that they are still together after what he did is toxic. Oh my god, I got like, at the beginning I was like, I cannot get sassy, but then this happened, so I obviously can if I get mad. So yeah, before I completely explode, I want to say there's an old lady staring at me from like the balcony opposite to mine. Anyways, so I want to say goodbye to you all. I absolutely love you, and if any of your favorite books were in this list, I'm very, very sorry. Like, wholeheartedly, I do not want to hurt your feelings. I hope we can still be friends. Here is our ambassador of goodwill to remind you. And I just really want to thank you for watching, and I hope you're having a great day, and I'll see you soon with another video. Bye.